friends, and welcome to my sewing room. My name is Miss Nuccia, and I'm from the Winfield Public Library. If you know me, I love to sew, and this is where I love to spend a lot of time listening to audiobooks and being creative. So over the years, if you've gotten to know me, you know that I like to repurpose things. I don't like to throw things away. I look at them and say, what else can I do? Well, in today's project, we are going to learn how to take a piece of clothing we no longer wear or doesn't fit or has spots on it and turn it into a reading Nook pillow. Doesn't that sound fun? Well, I went through all my clothes and I found a top that I have not worn in 10 years, maybe 15. It looks so big and so outdated, but it feels so soft. And it has buttons running down the front. And I thought, oh my gosh, this will make an adorable little pillow, a soft pillow to read. And then I thought, okay, maybe we'll put a pocket. We'll use the buttons, no zipper required. And on this side, we are going to put a pocket from the sleeves to put our books in. Then I found some ribbon for our buttons, and I found some buttons, cute little buttons. So let's get started. Let me show you how to begin. Like I said, you don't need to buy anything for this project. I took an old pillow that was really, really old and uncomfortable, and what I did is I cut the top off and I squared it up. I took about 6 inches of the pillow away. I restuffed it. I fluffed up the stuffing, and now I've got a nice square pillow for the project. So what you want to do is measure your pillow and go from center to the other center. This is 22 by 22. And what you want to do, you can make yourself a paper pattern. Add a 1/2 inch on each side, so do 22.5 by 22.5. And what I did, you see I made a cross. I found the center. So if you have a motif on your recycled item, your repurposed clothes, you want to center your pattern. So this is what I did. Now, what I have here is my old top. It has buttons running down the center. So you want to take and center this. Look at that. It's a perfect fit. Oh my. It is perfect. So what you want to do, it's centered over the buttons. Now, if you're using one of your dad's shirts, this will be perfect. Then you'll need pins. You're going to pin it down. It doesn't have to be precise, but and make sure that when you cut, you're not cutting on top of a button. I'm sure everybody has pins in the house. See, the button falls there and here. So perfect. This will have new life. And then you need a good pair of scissors, not scissors that you use for cutting paper. And when you feel certain that you've got it pinned down, and if you don't have pins, you can put something heavy to hold it down. Then with a good pair of sharp scissors, you want to cut. You're not going to get rid of the sleeves. We're going to turn the sleeves into a pocket, a front pocket for your book or books. And this is going to be a nice big pillow. I bet Coco's going to want to lay on it. Take your pins off. And now we're going to turn it inside out. But I'm thinking I would like to put a pocket on the front of this. So these are the sleeves I just cut off the top. I cut them right along the seam line. There are two of them. Now I don't want them on the side of the buttons, so I'm going to turn it over. And I think I'm going to open these sleeves up and cut along the seam line again. And we're going to make a pocket. It doesn't matter that it's seamed in the center. I think it'll look nice. So cut along the seam line of the sleeve. Cut both of them. And look, we are going to square them up and sew them together. So when we do that, okay, so let me square this up. We can't cut too much away, but we can do a nice job. You can use a ruler, or if you're courageous, do it freehand. See? No, more. I'm going to follow this. And you don't have to worry. This is a good time to experiment and be creative because you're not using brand new fabric. You're using something that you're repurposing. I think this is a good pillow pocket. So now you're going to sew along. I've threaded some needles. And if you're going to do this by hand, you could do this by hand. Knot it again. I like to knot my thread 2 times. And then do a running stitch. Stop. Now I just want you to do a very simple running stitch. Doesn't have to be fancy, just down and up, down and up. And I hope you have a really good sharp needle. And if it helps you, use a little darker thread. Nobody's going to see it. I got to the end. You want to back tack, go back and forth a couple of times just to make sure it doesn't, and then cut your thread. Okay, so now we've got that part. So see, but now you want to fold this down. So just pin it down a little bit. And you're going to do another running stitch here. And this is where you're going to put your books, papers. Okay, the end. So this will go like that on your pillow after. But now let's do another running stitch. So I've done the running stitch all the way across. Now my pillow is, the buttons are on the bottom. This is going to go on the top, and you're going to center it and pin it, because this is going to be the part where your books go in. So pin it and then you cut away the excess. We could have cut it away before, but this way we know. Centered it nicely over the buttons. Okay, looks nice. Now just take and cut the excess away. And don't worry about your stitching. You're going to be stitching over that area again. Put pins at the bottom. The nice thing about this fabric, it doesn't unravel. And then cut away the bottom. Pins are holding it. Oops, a little close. Okay, that's done. Now, you're going to put face to face, like that. So you want the pretty side of the fabric, the patterned part. See, this has a pattern. So you're going to put them, they call that face to face. Okay, this is the back side. This is the back side. This is the front of the fabric. This is what you're going to see. And you have pins. Just take the pins that you have there and go ahead and use those pins to sandwich your pocket between the two fronts, and then run across with these pins. And then continue all the way across, and you're going to do a running stitch all the way across. The nice thing is you have buttons. Oh, and if you do have buttons, leave a couple of buttons unbuttoned so you can turn it inside out. There. Make sure you could use your dad's flannel shirt. So the pins are going to go all the way across. If you don't have a shirt with buttons in the front, another way is to leave a little bit open in the back. You can overlap the two ends. But if you have any questions, you could always ask me. Leave me a message and I will help you. I threaded my needle. I don't like to leave too much thread because sometimes it gets all garbled. Do 2 knots and do the running stitch. I'm going right through that pocket right now. You can leave a 1/2 inch. Just go all the way around. So now the sewing is all done. I sew all the way across. And you remember I left the buttons opened. And here, just push your corners out. Okay. Okay, so now I push out your corners. You can use a pencil or you can even use a needle. Very gently push out the corners. Okay, this last one doesn't really need it. Good. Okay, so this is where we're going to put our pocket and our books. So now this is going to hang too much. So I found two little cute buttons. We're going to cut some ribbon and sew it down on both sides, and this is going to hold the button in place. So let's see. It doesn't have to be exact, but the two have to be exact. So after you cut one and you figure out, this is like, what do I have here? I have 8 3/4 inches. You're gonna just do a running stitch and go over and over on this. So I sewed the ribbon about 5 inches apart, center to center, but like I said, so now we're going to sew our buttons. You're going to have to figure out the best place, and you're going to have to put your hand. So let's put a pin mark where we think it should go. There. Yep. And a pin mark for this one. A little higher. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to put our hands through this. Put our needle through. I already knotted it. And then go through the first hole. You can take your pin out now. Oops. Let me do that again. Through that open space. Don't pull so hard. You might want to go again over it, because I pulled it right on through. Now we're good. Now go through the first hole. Put it down. Go through the second hole and look through. Hold your hand like this. Just go through this hole. And then through the second hole. Try to hit the same spot. And just go back and forth. And you successfully put a button on. Look how nice it looks. And I use different threads so you could see. I usually do at least 6 to 8 times, so it stays on nice and tight. And then when you're done, just go through that thread back and forth a couple of times. And then cut your thread. There. Now the next one. So let's put this on and see how it looks. There. Now let's put our pillow in and see how it turned out. I'm sure Coco's gonna take this pillow for sure. So here's my finished pillow. I stuck a book in. Now your pocket could be higher. If it is, put your buttons higher. And this is the back side. And it's all done. A recycled pillow and a recycled old sweater. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook and let me know how your pillow turned out. Thanks for joining me. Bye, everyone.